newspaper. The process takes months minimum. Some sites said it could take 6 months or longer depending on the court schedule. I felt trapped. Charlie was legally Nimrod, and fixing it meant months of court battles and thousands of dollars we didn't have. Blake kept trying to talk to me about his father's deadline, and I kept shutting him down because I couldn't think about the trust and the money and his family's threats while running on 2 hours of sleep and trying to keep a newborn alive. By the end of the week, I was so exhausted I could barely form sentences. Blake finally said we needed to talk to the lawyer Franklin had recommended. I was too tired to argue. Blake called Margie McCoy, and she had an opening that Friday afternoon. We drove to her office with Charlie in his car seat, and I felt like I was moving through mud. Margie's office was small and cluttered with file boxes, but she was straightforward and didn't waste time. She listened to the whole story without interrupting. Then she said birth certificate amendments based on lack of consent were legally viable in cases where one parent signed without the other's knowledge or agreement. She said we'd need strong documentation of the pressure campaign and proof that Blake's state of mind was compromised when he signed. She asked if we had any of that documentation saved. Blake and I looked at each other. I said we had months of text messages and emails from his family. Blake said his parents had made videos of the nursery they decorated. I mentioned the monogrammed items they'd bought and the custom crib. Margie started taking notes. She said she wanted copies of everything. Every text message, every email, every photo of items with Nimrod on them. She wanted a timeline of every family meeting and phone call where they pressured us. She specifically wanted documentation of the $200,000 contract offer and any evidence that Blake's parents had influenced the hospital paperwork. She said the altered pre-registration form was huge for our case. She also said we needed to be prepared for this to get ugly because Blake's family would fight back hard. I spent the entire second week postpartum creating an evidence folder while trying to take care of Charlie. I went through my phone and screenshot every text message from Blake's parents and extended family. I downloaded every email. I took photos of all the monogrammed baby items they'd sent. Blake helped by writing out a detailed timeline of every family meeting and phone call where his parents had pressured us about the name. He sat at the kitchen table for hours writing everything down. When he was done, he handed me 12 pages of single-spaced text documenting months of harassment. I read through it and felt sick. Seeing it all written out in order made it clear how extreme their campaign had been. Blake read it over my shoulder, and I could tell he was realizing the same thing. He said he hadn't understood how bad it was when he was living through it day by day. Now looking at it all together, he could see his parents had basically run a psychological operation against us. We put everything in a folder and emailed copies to Margie. She called 2 days later and said we had a strong case. The documentation was thorough and the pattern of coercion was clear. But she warned us the process would cost several $1,000s in legal fees and court costs. She also said Blake's family would likely retaliate by making good on their threats to cut us off financially. Blake and I stayed up late that night having hard conversations about money. We looked at our bank account and our monthly expenses. We looked at my medical bills from the hemorrhage that were starting to arrive. We talked about whether we could actually afford this fight. Blake said maybe we should consider his parents' offer to just use both names. I reminded him that compromising now meant teaching our son that you cave when people pressure you hard enough. We decided to move forward with the legal case even though it scared us. Blake found a couples therapist named Eli Booth, who had availability